Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Welcome to Cracking the Horsepeak Code. I'm Laura Wilse here with Sharon Wilse, and we are the co-founders of Horsepeak. And we're here today to talk to you about the concept that we have in Horsepeak, which is zero, which is a state of inner calm. And what we're going to see today is 4 horses coming into an indoor arena after it had been raining all night, and see what happens when Sharon steps in to help them become calmer within their herd dynamics.
With that being said, one of the coolest things that we've discovered in researching horse body language, so we put in thousands of hours of research into understanding the micro gestures that horses are making, their gestures, postures, and signals, facial expressions, and the markers on the outside of the horse's body that tell you what the inside of the horse's body is feeling. So we put thousands of hours into researching that so that we can give you the best body language signals that actually help horses release tension, feel safe so that they can feel calm, so that they can give you the attention that you want. Like in the past, what we knew about with working with horses was you needed to kind of get in there and get their yayas out. That was the idea, in order to kind of get them, prepared for the day or prepared to pay attention. And we both realized when we were working at rescues that so many of the elder rescue horses that aren't going to run around and do crazy things held 100% attention of even the most troubled horses. So we started there by studying what those elder horses were doing, because it didn't look like much, but it turns out everything was happening. So what we are going to see today is that I actually stay on the outside of the fence. And so this is a really important piece, because once we realized that you can stay on the other side of a fence, because body language is transmissible through distance. You don't have to be touching the horse to be communicating, and you don't have to be making them move this way or making them move that way to show your body language. You just need to know what the gestures, postures, and signals are. And that's why I say we spent thousands of hours researching this, so you don't have to. Because all you have to do is understand the couple of body language messages that we can deliver to them that they intrinsically understand. That means it's already in their brain. This is how they talk to each other. And all we've done is figure out the best gestures, postures, and signals we can do to imitate that to them. So you're going to see the proof in the pudding, because what happens when you stay on the other side of a fence and you communicate effectively and efficiently to them is you say to them, hey, I can help you feel safe. I can help you feel secure. Therefore, the horse is going to say, well, then you're the one that I want to be looking at, and you're the one I want to pay attention to. And when you have that attention, it's because they gave it to you, not because you took it from them.
And I think that's one of the coolest things when watching this video that we're going to see today is how you are with them. Mm-hmm. You are not saying, hey, you're not driving them.
Right.
You're with them in the experience, you're mirroring them, you're following them, and then maybe you'll do a little bit of a hand signal, but you're not saying, hey, don't do that or go that way or what have you.
Right.
And the only time when we actually would do something in that way, like really say, no, like stop what you're doing, is if it was a dangerous situation.
Right. It's a save your life moment.
Save your life, right. But that's the way we are working and practicing with horses, is to be with them in their experience.
So what we've called horse speak is a reference to the horse's language. Like it'd be like saying German or French. So horse speak to us is like that. What we're doing is precise equine body language skills. So that's what we're doing. We're using the precision that we've learned from them to imitate them. Now we have a different body. They don't have hands. We have hands. We have a little tiny neck and a little tiny face. But Horses make almost as many facial expressions as people do. In fact, they have only about 10 fewer muscles for facial expression in the face as we have. And that's actually more than dogs and even chimpanzees.
You know, what's also interesting is that we as mammals actually all have 7 cervical vertebrae. So I think that's just wild. Even a giraffe has 7 vertebrae, just like we do in our neck. So in the neck, when we're talking about horses, is so important, where the insertion point at the poll and into their shoulders, the well-being that they need to have, it, because that is like the ballast of their movement. If how they're arcing their neck is really can tell you a story, perhaps on how they're feeling emotionally.
With that being said, one of the things that we've learned to do is use our arm and hand in a similar fashion to the way the horse might display through their neck and their head. So they're going to have they have this long appendage, their neck and their head is a long appendage. And by changing the angle of my arm and my hand, I can create a downward energy, an upward energy, a neutral energy, a resting energy, or I can go high, like the signal for a horse with the head high in the air, and then invite them to come down low. And all it takes is a couple of minutes communicating in horse to horse for them to go, oh, you're not just swatting at flies or scratching your face. You're saying something. You're not just using your hands indiscriminately. You're actually trying to communicate with me. And what's fascinating to us is that horses seem to intrinsically want us to communicate with them.
Absolutely, because one of our mottos is everything means something. So this hand gesture can actually be a little bit of a block to a horse, or this is a pause, or like Sharon said, bring it down as my head
is high,
and I want to bring it down. So I think I think we've given a really nice introduction to the video we're about to see. Let's see it in action.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are. This was not too long ago in Germany, and these horses had just come in. As Laura said, they're wet, they're cold, they're not happy, and so they come in. They've got their own yayas. I don't need to make any yayas happen. They've got their own yayas. And what I'm looking at is who is going to try to emerge as the protector. The first and most important member of this herd is going to be the protector horse. And they're taken out of their larger herd. I think there's like 20 horses in this herd. So these 4 are going to have to make those decisions. So first they're just saying, yikes, we're uncomfortable. Notice that they're all going to the middle to roll. That's significant because the center is where they all feel the most protected. But not one single horse has come to the surface to be the protector. We have this arena set up in a very purposeful way because having the ground poles on the outside delineates the buffer zone. And we've discovered through thousands of hours of research that the horse who goes into the buffer zone is the one trying to take the protector role. So here we have the white horse is the one who finally goes into the buffer zone. Now I'm standing in the buffer zone on the outside of the fence, and I'm doing some very deliberate gestures with my hands. And right now I'm just mirroring. I'm standing steady and quietly, and I'm breathing, and I'm mirroring some of their motion with my hand as they move around. The white horse comes to check in with my hand, and then they run off for a little bit, and they do some very distinct patterns of their own as they try to solve more problems. And now what's happening is they're trying to figure out how they're going to problem solve this situation. There's 40 people in the audience staring at them. But finally, there's a real greeting from the protector. He's the first one to greet me. He recognizes that I might be a protector too. So I'm offering protection messages, but these horses don't know me. That's something that needs to be said. This is an unknown situation to them. They don't know who I am or what's going on. So I'm going to do something very distinct, which is called walking the line. I'm in the buffer zone on my side, and I'm going to walk the line and touch the poles and linger when I touch the poles. And that's a message. And then I'm doing a sentry. I'm saying, all those crazy people looking at you, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to raise my hand high and drop it low. And these are all messages. It's not a command like obedience. This is a message saying, I want to offer this to you. And what they do is they turn away and show me the hips. So they go to the safety object of the barrel and they show me their hips. And that means, oh, really? Are you going to mind my six, so to speak? Are you going to watch my back? And so now they're asking me to prove it. So I have to continue to give safety and protection messages. So I said to the white horse, I see you, and I'm asking you, you can come out of that buffer zone. I'd like to help. So the brown horse goes by me, and the white horse takes the herd down to the other end. So that brown horse, that chestnut horse going by, he was a sampler. He's like, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to see what I think. And now he's coming to the front. So now we have horse number 2 being curious about, hey, what's this human about? What is this person offering? I am mirroring in action. Basically, I'm taking whatever they give and I'm mirroring it back to them, but constantly with a message of, I see you, I see how stressed you are, and here's my offer. I'd like to help you feel safe. So by touching the fence, I'm saying this fence is safe. This area is safe. You're safe here with me. Now they look down the far end where things don't feel safe and they've lined up. And they've said, maybe we could try. We could try to trust her. This is a greeting. So they're doing a real greeting with me and each horse is lined up to greet except for one lingering in the background who's not too sure. So I'm doing an air greeting to him from a distance just to say, that's okay. You can come here if you're ready. If you're not ready, it's also okay. Now they're greeting each other and they're saying, something is different about this. One horse lowers his head and then tells that guy to move over because he wants more space because he'd like to come and stand in the corner near me.
And as you're going through this, there's a lot of more precision of the diagnosis of what's going on with the buttons that they're talking to with each other and all that. So this is just a brief overview of the action that Sharon is doing for herself. And her intention is to be like, can we as a herd calm down?
Now watch this. This is where I do spooky, come to me. That was that message. My hand was high and it dropped low really fast. I said, that area is spooky, come to me. And when they come, I drop into a low, what's called a low O posture. I get connected with them with my hand. This is the first time the mirroring in action is really starting to sink in. And then I quickly stop and quickly drop my energy low and say, that's good. This is really good, guys. I'm offering my hand to the different buttons, as Laura said. And by doing that, I'm saying, you know what? I see you. I see all your buttons of communication and I want to talk to you. So they do an interesting thing. They line up perfectly. This is a very specific lineup, nose to tail, and it's how horses prefer to travel when they're not in danger. So when they're in danger, they like to go girth on girth, like you see, they move all together. But when they're not in danger, they're going to more likely to move in a line. So here they're still sampling. Are we going to trust her or are we going to trust ourselves? And that little chestnut in the middle makes a big circle. I don't know what to do. And so here I say, come to me. And then I say, stop. They stop and back up. So we'll see that again in slow motion. So here they are in the lineup. And this is them saying, we might be really interested in what you have to offer, but our adrenaline is still on. We're still worried. There's still 40 people staring at us. This is still really strange. We've only gotten to know you for about 3 minutes. How do we know we can trust you? So I walk to the other end of the buffer zone to say, I'm going to walk this whole line and show you I've got you. Nothing's going to get you in here while I'm here. And so they walk to that side with me. Then I turn, and when they start to go to the other side, I start to go with them a little bit, and then I stop. And then you see the chestnut in the middle saying, I don't know who to go to. Do I go to the person or do I go to the horses? So they decide to run down the corner and come to me. So I say, go ahead, come to me. And they say, oh, goody. And then I say, stop. And this is important because if I'm going to be the protector, I also get to be the director. And that's the point of precise equine body language skills. So round 1, gain their trust and help them find some inner zero. All right. So with that being done, what we were able to achieve in that first session was gain their trust and help them start to aim towards what we call inner zero. Now, when horses are feeling really healthy and well, they like to maintain, a good nervous system aimed more towards a parasympathetic where they can rest and digest. But nature has designed horses to be basically creatures of flight. So yes, they're a prey animal, but they're specifically a creature of flight. So they would rather flee and get away when they feel stressed. And that's why they're running. They're not running because they're playing. They're not running because they just have yayas and random. They're running because their stress levels were too high. They came into an arena when they were super wet and super cold, and it was lunchtime and they didn't have their lunch. They had to come in. And then they walk into 40 people staring at them. So that just turned them on to be afraid. They're running because they were scared. So all of the messages that I gave in that moment from my side of the fence was to say, I know this is overwhelming. I know that this is a lot, but I really want to reassure you, and I'll do it as long as you need me to, that I want you to feel protected while I'm here. And I'm going to make a couple of simple messages, and I'm going to repeat them and repeat them and repeat them, because I know I'm a person, and I know that I'm going to say it with a little bit of a funny accent. So I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to mirror you, and I'm going to watch you and what you're doing. And when I think you're ready and that we could maybe go there together, I'm going to invite you to stop. And when you stop, we might go to zero together.
Yes. And that is the goal, is because when we're doing, for example, a clinic situation, and we have horses that we're going to work with, which we worked with all of these horses, we want to find out who is going to show up as a protector. And by knowing who is working the outside in the buffer zone, then it's like, okay, we have a protector. And then noticing who basically stays in the middle the whole time. Mm-hmm. The paint, as well as the
other
bigger
chestnut. Right.
But he also was interesting because he was being in the back as well. So he was kind of like sandwiching the paint, because the paint was definitely the one who had basically no zero.
As we get to know them, it turned out he was the mentor of that paint. So his job in his world was that paint horse. He's like, I watch him.
And we didn't know that. We had no idea like who the paint was or the chestnut. And we had met a couple years ago the white horse and the chestnut horse, but it's been some time. So we are just like, hey guys, how's it going? Mm-hmm. We're here again.
Here we are.
Let's have a conversation.
Right.
And so it's really fascinating to be able to, from the other side of the fence, to walk the fence line, stop at a fence post, breathe. I'm here. I want to protect you.
And there's 3 reasons why that works. Number 1, horses leave a pheromone scent to say this place is safe. They can use it in different ways, but one of their most famous ways of making a scent marker is through a poop. So they'll drop some manure in a place when they feel safe. That's called a safety poop. And they do it when they feel relaxed and they have a relaxed energy and emotion, and they're breathing, and they leave a pheromone in that aroma that other horses can perceive. This horse felt safe here. So that's number 1. Number 2, the way they breathe. So taking a deep breath or doing a shuddering breath, like that, or they have some noises with the breath, deep licking and chewing. So there's those kinds of breath messages. And number 3 is the positioning that they take in the space that they're living in. So the positioning is one of the things that they can do to say, hey, I'm the protector. And when a horse has this protector role, I want to say it's not a dominance role. It is the protector, because that's the horse who's going to take all the risk.
A caretaker.
They're going to take the risk. If a predator shows up, that's the horse that's saying, I'm on it. If a bear shows up, it'll be me. And this is a really big deal, because they're not, it's not the bossy horse or the bully horse. The protector horses sometimes actually other people think is low man on the totem pole.
Well, and that's the thing of, this was a high-speed video.
Right.
But we're trying to look at how are the footfalls happening? Mm-hmm. Who has the most sure-footed maneuvers in speed? And who is, when they're walking in really nice balance, because then that can also tell us a story on the characteristics of that horse. And so when we're meeting horses for the first time, the feet are a huge part of what we're looking at to ensure of what is your role in the herd. And with the protector roles, depending on the whole herd dynamic together, sometimes when the protector is taken out of the herd, then actually the protector may not want to leave the herd. That's
Right.
like
That's the thing. Sometimes they're like, you don't know what's going to happen to them
Those
if I'm
kids
not
are going
here.
to go out in the middle of the road and they're going to play
The wolf is going to show up. It's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. So sometimes a hesitant horse leaving the herd could be a protector, a mentor, a teacher, because they don't know like
What's going to happen.
So that's an interesting thing to think about with your horse that you might have. It's not because they're being stubborn or sticky or what have you. It's like, are they going to be okay?
With
and
that being said,
is fascinating.
It is fascinating because the point of that is that there's roles in the herd. There's not one leader. There's actually different leadership qualities, and it takes a whole herd. Like it takes a village, it takes a whole herd.
Absolutely.
For a herd to actually live in well-being, so they can go all the way into parasympathetic inner zero and do their rest and digest, which means they're healthy. So when horses can't drop all the way into true inner rest, and just because a horse is standing there eating or they're standing still, that doesn't necessarily mean they're at inner zero.
Work for them to stand still.
It is. Because they're an animal designed by nature to flee when they feel afraid. And sometimes what they do is they mask it. They cover that over. And luckily, we've been involved in some research recently where we've been looking at what is going on the inside of horses. And we can say we're not done with the research, but we can say what we've seen so far. There are cases where horses are just standing there, but not on the inside. On
and
the
their
inside,
heart rate is at like 120, which
They're
is
galloping.
basically galloping. So when we see running horses, we're like, what is going on in the environment? Not like, oh, wow, isn't that cool? It's like, no, is there an emergency? Did a truck like blow up or whatever? There's a reason why they're running. And so we're like, red flag, let's help them get calm. Let's problem solve the environment with them. So then we can get them back to, hey, let's stand and eat and have a nice day.
and drop deep into rest and repair so that the whole herd can be healthy. This is the bottom line. In a creature that's designed by nature to flee, you got to also have the equal opposite of how are you going to be? Because if you can't relax and be, then you're not going to be healthy. You're going to get stress-related illnesses. They're going to colic. They're going to get all kinds of injuries on the legs and the feet. And they're going to have, all kinds of spinal injuries and all kinds of lack of healthy muscle development. So many different things are going to happen because of stress. And there's gobs and gobs and gobs of research into how stress kills for people. But the fact is stress kills any mammal. So if a horse is living in a heightened state of stress because they don't know how to help themselves, they don't know how to get out of it, then what the cool thing is that we've discovered is there's these key gestures, postures, and signals that you can offer that say, hey, I got you. I got your back. I got the boogeyman. I'm not going to let anything get you. You can come right here and be safe. Stop. So rather than saying to a horse, go get your yayas out, we want to say to you, stop, pay attention. I've got you. So that when I do get to exercising a horse, they're actually exercising with the best deep breathing, the best kind of relaxed attention. So we're going to get the best muscle development and the least risk in that exercise program.
Yeah, because if you don't have a place to start, which is pun intended, ground zero, then you can't go up into energy practice
if you can't
with
cut
trotting,
down.
with cantering, what have you. If you don't have that starting point, because then basically everything you're doing is, when I show up, it's time to get stressed out and run around in the round pen. So that's like, oh, you're here. It's time to run. So
it's like playing basketball, like all the drills you did.
Back in the day, it was like, learning how to shoot. I needed to lay on the floor. It was the best way to do it and practice my form. Or footwork, going zigzags and all different kinds of drills without a ball.
Right.
Because there's coordination that needs to happen. And then you bring in the ball. And so it's similarly with working with a horse is like, we need to master inner zero and master the walk and make sure ourselves as well as the horse is walking in balance.
Right? Because that's what they're looking for. Horses are looking for the person or the horse who has the best balance is the one I want to follow. Because when you say through your body language that you have good, solid, relaxed balance, you're aware, you have body awareness, and you're present in your body, and you can move your feet like mentor steps, or you can move with protector energy. It's energy for them, not against them. That's the kind of body language a horse wants to follow. So sometimes we've been taught, like, well, put your shoulders back and act tough. But that acting tough is a sort of an aggressive, assertive thing at the horse. But what they want to see is, can you be tough for me? Can you show me that you'll put your pheromone scent on the fence line and breathe out? So that's how I'm going to leave a pheromone scent of this is safe. I'm going to leave my scent marker from your palm on the fence. Just one big breath out is going to supercharge that scent marker to say, I've checked it, I've inspected it, this fence is safe. And you know something? It's not always safe. And one time I was doing this for a mare who was very nervous, and she kept trying to interrupt me. And I finally realized the reason why is because where I was trying to say the fence was safe, there was a beehive. It was not safe. And so she was right and I was wrong. So that's when I started saying, you know what horses are looking for? They're looking for bees, they're looking for bears, and they're looking for boogeyman. Boogeyman is just sounds and noises and whatever. So we want to take their concerns seriously because they are designed by nature to flee because they get scared. That's their bottom line. And if we want to shape their behavior to be something that's enjoyable for both them and ourselves, that's beautiful for both them and ourselves, we want them to be in the best shape and to be really fit, then they have to be calm internally to go into that rest and repair. So we have to work on our stress. We have to work on our inner zero.
So then showing up and being like, have your shoulders back, look strong. And with precise equine body language skills, it's not just about the horse. It's about our gestures, postures, and signals. So my back, I'm like 100% stiff. My lower back is arched backwards. My neck is tight. Everything is tight. And so that's showing the horse, hey, let's be super stiff.
Yes. Tight doesn't mean strong.
Yeah. And so when we can round our shoulders, have what we call an O posture, and then we can balance. If I have to go up to X, I am also paying attention to my pelvis. I'm making sure that I'm not arching my back out and then throwing myself off balance. So
and not breathing.
Because
you're going to leave the pheromone scent of stress. You're going to try to say, I got you, but you're actually leaving the imprint and the breathing pattern of stress.
Yes. So we thank you for watching this episode covering the aspects of inner zero, looking at horses from a different perspective, noticing that if you see a horse running, wonder why are they running? Because they've lost their zero, they could be running away from something, and horses in a domestic environment can't run away from their environment unless they run through the fence, and then you have fences to repair. So
exactly. Being
aware that there are bees, bears, and boogeymen that the horses are aware of 24 hours a day.
And we need to know those few gestures, postures, and signals that help say, you're safe with me.
Thank you for watching. Enjoy your day.